Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the M40 M43, the Tier 8 American SPG. This one has got 3 marks of excellence on the barrel of the howitzer, and it's on the northwest spawn of mines under the command of Oxagon of the ENJ0Y clan. Well, this Arty is based on the M4. I think that's fairly obvious straight away. It's an extended M4, as you can see. There's a big gap between the road grills there on the vehicle, but it's unmistakably an M4 hull that's been converted to carry an 8-inch howitzer we've got there. The M43 carried the 8-inch howitzer, and the M40 carried the 155mm gun. Okay, well, we're following that CS list, who's made its way into the castle grounds, but we're not loaded yet, because this Arty does have a very long reload time. He fires a blind shot in. Oh, he got a hit! He definitely got a hit on the Barask as he was pulling back. Now, this Arty is capable of doing 900 alpha, and it will penetrate through 52mm of armor, and it's got a damage radius of 10.5 meters, which is quite large actually, because if you think about it, it's 21 meters wide. So you only need to land the shell fairly near the target and you get a huge amount of damage. That IS-6 at the moment, well, he's asking for a round, but I think it's going to be the Tiger that gets the hit instead. Rounds out. Yep, it was a Tiger 2 as well. 357 hit points. It's a non-penetrating shot. Less than half the alpha. Half the alpha would be 450. If a shell hits the frontal armor of any heavy tank, you're going to get slightly less than the alpha, but it's very rare to actually see anyone get the alpha or even above alpha on a non-penetrating shot. Okay, IS-6 is going to be on the receiving end if he stays where he is. But the Tiger 2, well, he moves into position and he takes the round again for 360. Now, he's going to take that personally after a while if it keeps landing on him. And something you might notice is that Oxagon hasn't moved away from his current firing position, and that is inviting trouble, because if you don't move away, eventually the enemy Arty might discover where you are. And the enemy Arty in this game is also an M40 M43, but somebody slightly less experienced than Oxagon. Okay, he's almost loaded. IS-6 is likely to be the next target. He fires the round in, and well, that's 234 hit points of splash. Well, Oxagon has definitely decided to move this time, and with good reason, because you saw a shell just blast off that wall. So I think the enemy is close enough that they can actually work out where he was, and were firing rounds in there just to see if they could get him. He's still going for the 2 at the front, near the middle rock. We saw Progetto 46 just make his way into the castle grounds. Rounds out the IS-6. Oh, a big hit! 430. It's a non-penetrating shot, but it's still below the half alpha. Now, the standard reload for this Arty is, if I remember correctly, it's 44 seconds, 0.78. No, it's actually 44.1. I need my glasses sometimes. And we can see that Oxagon actually has a reload of 35.72, so he's knocked a fair amount off there. 9 seconds, or just under 9 seconds. It's going for the IS-6, rounds out. This should be more effective. And he wipes him out with that shot. 115 hit points, and it's all he had left, and he's out the game. But the problem is that the enemy is now tending to advance over the middle island. They've got 3 tanks lined up to do that, and we've got 2 tanks now defending, because the 122 TMs had to pull back because he's badly damaged. But we do have a Barask and a CS52 list, so maybe Oxagon can give them some help in a short while. In the meantime, he was following that Tiger 2 as he retreats from the center rock. No joy. I get the feeling that the Barask and the Liss are actually holding back to wait and see if the enemy does come over the island. And now Oxagon has decided there is a significant threat, and there is the SDA-2, or the SDA-1, and he gets a direct hit and picks up 363 from that shot. So it's a very much worthwhile shot. Medium tanks, of course, are much easier to pen. With 52 millimeters of pen, if you can get a direct hit in the right spot, it will do a lot of damage. And the enemy is now having trouble getting close to make shots in the castle. They're on the north side, but the problem is if they do pop up, they get shot at. Okay, now I think even Oxagon could have a go at that guy, the Progetto 46, but instead he's decided to shoot down the other end of the map because there's a Scorpion G, very thin armor on those. Changes his mind. He's going back to the middle island, and now we've got a 122 TM there. Just settling his aim. Rounds out, looks good. Direct hit. Now the 122 TM is basically a Wizzy 111 with another name. He's right in the corner of the map now. Of course, again, that makes him slightly more susceptible to enemy fire, because really, when the enemy looks at the tracer, they'll say, well, there's nowhere else that he could be but sitting right in the corner, and then they put a round in there if they're looking at the counter battery. In the meantime, we've got a 59 pattern. That's a cross between a Type 59 and a pattern tank turret. So it has that horrible carbuncle on top. Rounds out the star. Yes! 273 from a near miss. Now, the way that players like Oxagon get 3 marks on their barrel is that they are very, very persistent in firing their rounds in to maximize their damage. They try to make sure that they fire their round as soon as it's available to fire, so that they can just keep up a maximum fire rate. And that's how you end up with huge scores in the end. Now, an SU 130 PM, but unfortunately he's having difficulty trying to get a shot on target at the moment because he's sticking close to the rock. Now, if that guy moves around the corner, he might be able to get around on him. He's moving in position. Come back a little further forward and we'll be able to hit you. Oh, he's decided to go the other side. Now, I'd go back to the original aim point. That's it. He's moving up now. Rounds out. Oh, it zoomed right over the top of him. That would have been a perfect shot if he'd held the aim on the SU-130 PM on the original position, and as the SU-130 PM moved out, he would have got smacked in the face by an 8-inch shell, and it would have gone straight through his armor, because the armor on an SU-130 PM is negligible. Now we're 1 tank down on the enemy at the moment, but it's still anyone's game. We now have control of the castle because they've lost it. And that means that potentially we might get the sight of the enemy tanks in their own home ground. Is that 59 pattern again? The tanks that are around here, which of course are the 122 TM, and the stars pulled back. Oh, kill shot! Yeah, he got him as he was retreating. 298 hit points. He's out the game, and now they're equal. 2 kills to Oxagon. Now that's useful because that means it's one of their mobile mediums has gone out. It also means there's only 3 tanks trying to cross the middle island. We do have a Progetto 46 nearby. The list is holding the island on his own at the moment, but he's gone up to the center rock, so he might be able to spot the other enemy tanks for us. Now, if that 59 pattern moves forward, we can get a shot on him. He's in position, rounds out. Direct hit. 344, a nice shot. Perfectly placed. So the tables are now being turned on the enemy. We not only have more hit points than them, but I think we actually have position. Now, instead of going after the tanks on the west side of the map, we've gone to the Scorpion G that we saw earlier. Oh, no, that's not so good. The Scorpion G just killed our BZ. So he's popping forward again. Looks like he's using a wreck for cover. Meanwhile, this 59 patterns a one-shot. He's only got 55 hit points left, and he's just gone down to the Brask. The Brask managed to shoot him all the way from the castle. So that means now that the enemy, well, it's still 10 all, but I think they have lost their advantage over on this side of the map. They still have that 122 TM, but we don't know where he is. At the moment, our Borsig and our Progetto are holding back in reserve. And I can understand the Progetto staying there because, of course, he's back up to the list if the list needs help. But I think he ought to be pushing now, and so should the Borsig, for that matter. Borsig should go into the castle, and the Progetto should follow the CS52 list. Now, we're aiming on this corner, because if anyone's going to spot the list and shoot at him, it's going to be from that corner. I'll try and do a defensive shot. Might even be worth a blind shot, for that matter, just to see if anyone's at home. And the Mars has been found over here. Can you get a shot? Yes, he can. Now, if he gets warning, a shell's on its way, he'll pull back into cover quickly. Doesn't mean to say he won't be damaged. He has got a shot on our list so far. Here he is again. In fact, the 122 TM's coming up. Rounds out. Oh, it just misses him, and he goes down in, and, well, we've lost the list, but the enemy's lost their 122 TM. Taken out by the Progetto. So the scores are still even. There's 4 left on either team. The enemy team's got 2 tank destroyers and a medium and an Arty. We've got 2 mediums, a tank destroyer and an Arty. The advantage is actually still in our favour on hit points. Of course, our Barask is still in the castle grounds. He's having a look to the north because he expects the ISU 152K to come around the castle and take the north end of it. People call it the hill, but it is actually a castle. Of course, it does have turrets and everything. Okay, so we're going to try and deal with this Mars. There's the Mars. We need to pull back because, yep, the rock was blocking our shot there. He suddenly realized that. He's a little late because the Progetto's moving into position already. But if he can get around downrange into that Mars right now, that might be an advantage. We can't see him, but he must be looking because he probably knows that the Progetto is moving. So he's probably sitting there right now, and if we fire the round in, that's the 2-minute warning. And we've been spotted. Oh my god, that means there is a tank destroyer coming around the north end of the castle. And in fact, Oxagon's quickly dived for the rock. Because of course that means the enemy Arty is going to be spotting him. And it will have seen him for at least 3 seconds. And we just lost, or the enemy just lost their Mars. But there is that ISU 152. Here he comes. And we shotgun him at close range. But I think he's going to fix himself before we can move. And we're out the game. And in fact, the Scorpion G is also with the ISU. And he is capping. But as I say, I think we've got the advantage here because our medium tanks are quick to move about. And that means now that the enemy Scorpion and the ISU 152 are going to be vulnerable. In the meantime, the Progetto 46 and the Borsig are headed towards the enemy cap. And of course, since we know 2 tank destroyers are up the other end, that means there's only 1 enemy player up at their home end, and he's the M40, and he's on the move. He's already moving north, and he's already been shot at by the Progetto, and he's been wiped out. And there goes the Barask, gets the kill, and takes out the ISU 152K, leaving the Scorpion as the last remaining enemy tank. with 27 seconds left on the clock. Oh my god, and the Barask is the only one who can get the kill, but the unfortunate thing is he's only got a few hit points left. He pops out of these behind these bushes, then the Scorpion's going to get him, which means that, yes, I'm afraid this is going to be a draw. So close. Oh, he gets a hit, and he gets another one, and the Scorpion fires back, but that is the end of the game. Well, that was an exciting game because it went down to the wire. We ran out of time and it was a draw, but it was a first-class tanker for Oxagon in the M40, M43. He managed to get a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9. A Gauze medal for doing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points for his own vehicle. And he got the High Caliber in that game for dealing the most damage in the game overall. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he managed 4,050 hit points of damage, easily the highest. Second highest was the Progetto, managed 3,329. And the third highest was the Mars on the enemy team, who managed 3,196. When it came to kills, in fact, it actually was shared between the Batchat Barask and the Progetto. They both had 3 kills apiece at the end of the game. And 2 kills apiece went to the to Oxagon, and also to the Scorpion, the 122TM, the Progetto, the SU-130PM, and the ISU-152K on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, because it was a draw, it's down to the amount of damage and how effective they were on spotting. And we can see the Progetto actually ended up with the highest amount with 664. 658 went to the Batchat Barask, and 628 went to Oxagon. So they had the first 3 on base XP. Oxagon fired 14 rounds, got 10 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetrating shot, 14 splash, 4,050 hit points, of which 3,620 were at more than 300 meters. The difference being that shot on the ISU-152K, which was at very close range. He did receive 1 hit. It was a penetration. Unfortunately, he was out the game. Hit 7 of the enemy, killed 2 of them, and did 593 hit points to stun off 12 stuns. On a premium count, he actually earned a loss of 28,795 credits. Yes, I'm afraid he did use premium consumables, and they were expensive, and he had the ammunition resupply as well. And also 1,482 experience points from that game. So, yeah, it was okay. It was a good game. It was an interesting one. Right down to the wire. It could have been a win if the Barask had managed to get enough damage on the Scorpion, but he couldn't in the end. All he could do was pump those 2 rounds in, which he did, but that was not enough, and they couldn't get the win because the other 2 guys were down the other end of the map, and the moment the cap started going, one of them should have returned to try and deal with that Scorpion, and unfortunately that was the end. So, yeah, sad that it turned out to be a draw, but it shows that Oxagon has a way of actually pumping out that damage and keeping the damage rolling on the enemy tanks, and that's by repeatedly firing as soon as you can get another round in the breach, putting in an accurate round on the enemy and getting the damage. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.